Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Apocalypse Duds. I am your co-host, Matt Smith,
And I'm the other co-host, Connor Flower.
and today we've got I don't want to call him a legend, but I mean, kind of, one of the dudes that's been around for a very fucking long time. Author of The Mangle Stripe, one of, in my opinion, the most stylish people that I've known through the internet menswear scene. Um, a man with great taste, Nico Lazaro. Welcome to the show, Nico.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, yeah. It's been like we. I don't know why I hadn't thought about like, oh shit, Nico should come on, but happy to make this happen. How's it going today?
Good. I'll say, I've been around for a while, but I don't feel like I've been the most opinionated or outspoken person. So I totally
Yeah,
understand.
for sure.
Listen, when I was a young buck in Baltimore and I was like trying to figure out the scene, right? There were people in New York who sort of had it figured out. And you were one of those people. Chris Fenimore, among some others, young people that
Oh,
were
yeah.
like doing stuff that like had bylines and stuff like that. So that was tight. And here you are, still working.
Thank you. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into this, but uh, when when something like this is your passion, it comes easily, and like you naturally gravitate towards it. And I think that's why I've been in it so long. Is I've always loved it, and I still love it, and hopefully I always will love it. So
yeah,
uh,
totally.
that's what makes it fun.
Fuck yeah. So, Nico, where are you from and where are you now?
I'm from a small town about an hour north of New York City called Bedford. It's right on the border of Connecticut.
Okay, gotcha.
Really small town. Uh, if you know, if you watch like any like preppy movie or that like 1970 movie Love Story, it's very much like that kind of world is what
Okay,
I grew up in. I wasn't necessarily a part of that.
right,
Uh,
right.
yeah, I went to public school. Both my parents were working class. But yeah, I did that. Moved to New York for a little bit to the city. Lived there until 2020. Had one of those pandemic breakups where I moved all my stuff in with my parents and was like trying to figure out like what do I.
Oh God, yeah.
And I was like, I just want better weather, sunshine, the ability to like go outside and breathe fresh air and not be cooped up. And California was the next logical place besides New York, and especially with like working in men's fashion. Los Angeles was really like the only other city it seemed viable to live in at the time.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I moved out here in 2020, and I've been living in Silver Lake for the past few years, which is great because it's probably the closest to like parts of Brooklyn in a way where it's like semi walkable where I live, at least. Like
Right.
Mhm.
there's a lot of cafes and coffee shops, bars, and a few good like smaller menswear. Like Mohawk
Mhm.
General Store is technically walking distance from me. There's this small Japanese shop, Anonymousism. You might know them for their socks, which are great.
Mhm.
But they have a shop here that they carry a bunch of other like Japanese brands, and I think they have Paraboot and some other like more like not avant-garde but like weird technical shoes and that kind of stuff. So
Right.
Sure.
it's nice. It's nice to be around like something loosely menswear related because
Right. Right.
there's not much of that out here.
Do you have a car?
I do. I share it with my partner Ruby. We're getting married in next May. We're gonna do that in Staten Island. But
Congratulations.
Yeah,
yeah,
congrats.
she was working in entertainment when I met her. She was working for Seth Meyers' production company, and it was a pandemic, so everyone was picking up hobbies. And she was like, "Let me get back into sewing. Like my grandma taught me how to sew. There's like the style of dress I want to try to make." And she made a few for herself and posted it on social media. And then friends and random people were asking if she could make them dresses. And she kind of slowly built that into a brand and quit her job. And
Oh shit.
So
That's
that's like the dream.
sick.
yeah, and she's since sort of wrapped that up. Like that is If you guys know anything about the actual like building a business and running a fast,
We've struggled sort of.
Oh
uh,
my god, yeah.
she was, you know, amazingly, she like broke even the first couple of years, which is great. Like to even
Oh
do that,
yeah,
not go into debt. Uh, but yeah, she was like, I just need something so I can like not be working, you know, 16-hour days every day, no
right.
breaks. Like your brain, like even if you're like clocking out or whatever, and you're not checking your email, you're still
Yeah.
thinking about
It's
things.
the dream, but it's complicated and hard, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I've been doing vintage full time for 8 years, and like it's I also the past couple of years haven't put in nearly enough effort and as much effort because it fucking drains you.
Yeah, it's totally soul sucking. Because it's like busy work, basically. It's like all the shit that you need to do to maintain an online presence is busy work.
yeah, it's a lot of menial like tedium, like just like
Rote.
little like editing a caption or like copy or like
Writing
snippeting.
the fucking copy, all of that stuff
Yeah,
is
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like do Matt and I enjoy writing the copy for the fucking show? Absolutely not, but we still have to do it every week,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and try
Plus,
to make it as fun as you can.
plus we bitched about this before, but the moving from like a photo type social media thing to a video, like it's so much.
It's so much work. It adds like so many different levels
Yeah,
of
and like
work.
I'm not a fucking photographer, but I'm certainly not a videographer.
Right.
yeah. I kind of avoided it for as long as I could, and then up until really like this year, I was
This
like,
year was the year, I
let me just
think.
start doing it. Let me just start figuring out like I can start small. I don't have to show it to people. I can kind of just like start recording videos of myself and see what I like, what I don't like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot more work than just snapping a photo and posting it.
Right. Yeah. And personally, I don't really. I enjoy funny videos or like animal videos, but if someone's talking about clothes, I could really give a shit.
I would rather read it.
Yeah, I'd much
I would
rather read it.
always rather read it.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
easier to
like,
skim.
yeah, and it's like ad insertion is like the seemingly the main motive behind the pivot to video is like they can just serve you more ads in that way.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can probably talk more about like the capitalist overtones on everything, but
Oh yeah,
it
yeah,
is, yeah, it's detrimental to creativity and to actual like exploration, I think. Like naturally finding good shit is
It's
a lot.
so killer cuz like we want to be doing the stuff that we like to be doing, which is basically like talking to people. And like editing the show is a pain in the ass and like marketing the show is a pain in the ass, so it's just like you do the thing that you love, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the main part of what you're doing is what you love, like the other stuff sucks, but it's kind of just like a thorn in your side. It's not as soul sucking as like clocking into a 9 to 5 that you hate.
yeah. If I had to respond to emails in like a fucking office environment every day, I might actually kill myself. Like that sounds like the worst possible. And I know people do it to get by, or some people actually enjoy it. But like that shit just ain't for me.
Yeah, I think it's a
It's
personality.
very boring. It's extremely boring. It's like if you can't just like make your focus really, really small and do exactly what you're asked to do, you're like fucked. You're like twiddling your thumbs and then whatever HR person is like breathing down your neck. It's really a dream.
So Nico, you've been in the menswear industry for a fucking while now. Could you give us kind of like a quick uh, CV rundown?
Yeah, yeah. I always tend to go long winded with this stuff, so let me stick to the CV. Uh, yeah, I mean, really, like my first ever shot I got in the industry was through Lawrence Schlossman, who does the Throwing Fist podcast, but he was on Tumblr technically like a year after I got on there, so I was on there first. But
Yes, yes.
uh, yeah, we became friends through Tumblr, and then I found out he had a blog, and we when I was out of college, we met in New York, and he helped me get an internship at this PR agency called BPMW, and they were representing, like Mark McNary.
Right.
They had the tree torn sneakers that were the cool thing at the time, and they had Stussy and some other like big names.
Hmm.
I think like I don't know, some streetwear stuff as well. But I that was like my first real like foot in the door in the industry, and it was really just thanks to him giving me a cosign and telling them you should hire this kid,
Right.
sight unseen, and that was a lot of like menial like email list building and that kind of stuff, like
Sure.
really not
Admin.
fun at all. But I was
Right.
like, I'm in it, like I'm in the scene, like I'm part of this thing that like they were putting on the Capsule Trade Show that had like our legacy.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, the Ovadia brothers, who I met through that, that became my next job. But I also did some retail for Save Khaki, so I
Hmm.
could actually like pay the bills. But I was living with my parents. I couldn't afford anything. We were getting like $5 Chipotle for lunch and saving,
Right.
saving half of it for the train ride home.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and so I did that for maybe 6 months, and then Lawrence and another friend of mine, Justin Chung, were doing a photo shoot with this brand Ovadia and Sons, and the two brothers who were running that mentioned that they needed some help. They were kind of doing everything themselves at the time, and both Lawrence and Justin vouched for me and said, he's looking for something full time, and he's willing to do whatever you need. And he, like, to their credit, like they thought I had, the taste level and the eye, the attention to detail to get things right. And so that became my first real job in the industry. I was like technically special projects coordinator for them. That was my title, but I was the sole employee, so I did literally every. I was like
Yeah. Yeah.
getting fabric swatches and samples, and then when we place an order, I would go down and pick up the rolls of fabric in the garment district and haul them over to the factory or to the showroom, and uh, yeah, I was doing all the actual heavy lifting
So it was
metaphorically.
like the mechanicals of the brand too. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and I would put together, I would do fittings and models and put together looks for the lookbooks, and they did a couple runway shows, and a few years in, they pivoted to athleisure entirely, and
mhm.
Right. Right.
a lot of like derivatives of like runway fashion, uh, you know, like high fashion brands, just like doing like their knockoff version of something that was trendy.
Right.
So I stayed a little longer than I probably needed to, but I think it goes back to that personality difference of like people who want to clock into a safe 9 to 5 job. I was like, at least I have this, it's secure. It kind of sucks now, but like maybe they'll change their mind and they'll get back to the tailoring roots they started with, which never happened.
Right.
Right. Yeah. That honestly, that shift is one of the most like stark things that I think I've seen from like a modern brand in
Yeah,
such a weird way.
a lot of people who were there to experience that, it's like a cautionary tale of like everything you shouldn't do as a brand.
Yeah. Totally.
But yeah, in the meantime, I was, the whole reason I got any work in the industry was being a part of the menswear community. And a lot of that was just like showing up to events, going to your
Right.
favorite shops, hanging out. Matt, I met you at Epaulet when you were there, and I would just
Yeah. Yeah.
hang out
Totally.
there with like you and Jacob Gallagher, and whoever else, Chris Fenimore, that whole crew,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just like
Those were some
popping.
fucking fun times too.
Yeah, I remember Gian DeLeon too. Like he'd be like, "Yo, what are you doing today?" Like, "I'm going to Gentry," and we
Right.
just go to the
Right.
shop and like hang out for like a few hours, and then get like gelato or get pizza or something, and that was like our day.
Right.
Um, So yeah, I was still doing that stuff in my downtime, and I was doing a photo shoot with CHCM. I was helping him style a shoot in his hometown. He had just Sweet to the owner of CHCM shop. He was, I think it's Nyack, New York. He was living
Mm.
there at the time. We did a photo shoot out there, and I was kind of venting to him about work, and he was telling me, "Oh, there's this like jewelry shop next door, or like down the street. You should interview with them." And at the time, I had really long hair. I was kind of in a more exploratory phase of my style journey. And I
Mm-mm.
had an interview with these guys, and they're telling me, "Well, we might need you to cut your hair, or at least like have it tied back in a ponytail. And also, you can't hate rich people. You don't hate rich people, right?" And there were just like so many like little things here and there that I was like, this is not like this is going down a bad road. Like this is how the conversations are starting. Like it's not going to get any better from here. So I was feeling a little disillusioned, and like maybe I should just stick around at this job that I hate. And my friend Jake Metzer, who I also met through Tumblr, he uh, mentioned to me, we got a coffee, and he was telling me, "Hey, I'm working with this new startup. It's a menswear marketplace. You might have heard of it. It's called Grailed." I was already
Mhm.
a Grailed user. I was like, "Oh, dude, yeah, I saw what you guys are doing. It's really cool." And he said, "Well, we're looking for someone to answer emails. Like, we don't have anyone who can answer these emails professionally. And I know you're connected in the industry. Like, you probably know someone, right?" And uh, immediately I was like, "Dude, just hire me. Like, I'll do it. Like, I'll quit my job today and start next week. Just let me know."
Right.
And he asked me what I wanted to get paid, and he kind of laughed at what I asked and said, "Dude, we can pay you more than that."
Oh fuck
Oh
yes.
shit, wait. Uh wow, this is like a real like this is actually happening. And uh yeah, it was more of like a tech company than a fashion company, but Jake had brought helped bring Lawrence on. This guy Eric Poon, who is kind of the creative director in a way, and a few other people from the scene were brought in. You know, Gian DeLeon was like also like a consultant early on, and they had Virgil Abloh coming to the office.
Mhm.
And so I was part of that, like, how do we get more fashion people to be a part of the team and incorporate their expertise into this product we're building as a tech company. And so while I was answering emails, I was also helping build out the blog with Lawrence and Jake and figuring out, what are some of the topics we should cover, who are the brands we should highlight. They were doing the Grilled 100, which was 100 of like the coolest stuff you could find on Grailed.
Right.
And, they were getting stuff from these Japanese brands like Number Nine and Undercover and mixing that with Helmut Lang and Raf Simons and
Mhm.
I had these DROM boots that I sold the company that I really regret selling because they were my favorite boots. They're like these side zip motorcycle boots that fit me perfectly. They kind of went with like everything I was into at the time. But I was so excited to like be a part of this really cool thing. I was like, these are the best boots I know of. Like we got to put these in the collection.
Mm.
And yeah, I got rid of those. But there's been a lot of stuff along the way like that that I'm like, man, I wish I still had that.
Oh, don't we all? Don't we
Uh,
all have these?
Yeah, but anyway, that was, those were the early days of Grailed. I was like the 10th person there and built out a team under myself of I want to say like it was around like 8 people when I left. But the whole company like, blossomed into like a company of like 200 plus people. Uh yeah, really big growth in the 7 years I was there, and then they sold to Goat Group, which was kind of my sign that it was probably time to leave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Understandable.
But yeah, it was, that happened in October of 2022. And then I was sticking around, and they were like figuring out the restructuring. And they're like, okay, we need you to like help uh, integrate our community team with goats and whatever. And I was just like, man, I really don't want to like do this. Like I didn't, it wasn't exciting to me. And it was kind of like another pivotal moment, like when I was at Ovadi, where I was like, do I stay in something that's comfortable or do I actually like take a risk on something that might be more rewarding? And uh, it was kind of kismet that like at that same time, this headhunter reached out to me. It was the first time I've been like poached for anything ever, but he told me he was working with Buck Mason and they were looking for someone to help with brand storytelling, which I didn't really understand what they needed or what they wanted from me. But
Yeah.
I was like, sure, like, yeah, I could do that. Like, I basically helped build the brand of Grailed into what it was. And same thing with Ovadia. Like, I was the sole like contact for for PR and for marketing needs. So I had more than enough experience, and I was like, yeah, let me give this a shot. Like, it'll be cool to work for another up and coming brand. But they didn't give me a job description or uh, any sort of like structure around what I would be doing day to day, which is kind of how the company is. It's very entrepreneurial, which can be beneficial in some ways, but I found it really challenging to do my best work in that kind of environment. So it was 2 years, 2 years of kind of figuring that out there. And I did a lot of stuff I was proud of, but ultimately it was becoming more and more challenging to get everyone on the same page about the work I was doing and feeling good about it. And kind of came to a mutual agreement that uh, it would be better for me to just like move on and move past that. So I left Buck Mason in December of last year. And for the past 8 or 9 months now, I've been full time freelance, kind of just doing contract work and doing my Substack.
Which is tight. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
Substack is like, I don't know. It's kind of miraculous that someone didn't come up with it before.
Yeah, it feels to me like an extension of both the Blogspot and WordPress and that era of blogs
Hmm.
right, right,
and and Twitter. Like even like it's got the notes feed, which is very similar to Threads and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So it combines a lot of like it's they're kind of trying to become like a full package social media service. But what I like about it is the long form content and the fact that there is, if there's a thread you want to pull on, you can fully explore that.
yeah. The long form, I don't like long form writing has such a feel to it and can like really show you the bigger picture. And I miss that about social media. Like that's part of the reason I like Tumblr or Blogspot or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's like crucial to so the way I view personal style and like fashion as a whole is like anything else, it's a journey, and I think there's an important part of that journey, which is exploration, and that never really goes away. Like I'm still exploring, I'm still learning stuff every day, but it's definitely harder to explore things on most forms of social media because of the algorithms and because everything is kind of, flashes in the pan that are really exciting for 5 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it is. And then people move on from it. And you can kind of see that with trends nowadays where things are moving so fast that nothing's actually really sticking. And I don't think people are forming an identity around their clothing
Right.
the way they used to.
Yeah. And then you also have like you have the lingering trends from 10, 15 years ago that like are now mainstream. And it's an interesting like dichotomy between the two.
Yeah, and I think the lingering stuff too, it's kind of taken for granted, and there's less there's less curiosity about that. I think people are curious. I don't want to like discredit anything,
Totally.
but I do feel like that social media has basically like the brain rot from that has kind of made it hard for people to think as critically or as deeply about things. It's all got to be like served to you on a silver platter. Otherwise, you don't have the patience for it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can see that indeed as I scroll through Instagram Explorer for hours on fucking end every day for
Oh,
no
yeah.
real reason.
Which it's sad, but like I mean, not even to talk about yesterday's events, but like that event is like a flash in the pan too. Like you would think that like a public execution would be like, I don't know, people would be like, oh my god, this is horrible. Uh, but you know, it's just going as it has been.
It'll be forgotten in 2 weeks by the vast
Right,
majority of people.
right,
If
exactly.
that. If
If 2 weeks, 2 weeks is a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how deeply I want to get into all this, but like you look at the civil rights movement, right? And there were like even okay, like let's relate this back to style. Like that era of style, there were real figures, there were real icons of style
yeah,
from the 50s, 60s, 70s, even up until like the early 2000s. And in recent years, there are people, like I like how like Austin Butler dresses sometimes. I like, Shia LaBeouf style like a while back was like cool. There's people like that nowadays, but there's not as much
The guy from The
consensus.
Bear, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that, but I
What
guess
that
that,
he's like a popular guy? He's a super popular guy.
yeah,
People
that's what
want his
right.
T-shirt.
Yeah, I guess we're talking about zeitgeist. Yeah, he is like in the zeitgeist as
wait, Jeremy Allen White? I don't
Yeah,
watch The Bear.
I don't
yeah,
watch The Bear either. But the
Okay.
point is, people like his T-shirt.
He is playing Bruce Springsteen and looks fucking fantastic in the biopic trailer, so I'm going to give him that one.
yeah. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I guess yeah, but that's like relevant now. I don't know if he'll be relevant 5, 10, 15 years from now.
No, and I'm not saying he's like a Martin Luther King, Malcolm X.
Right.
Like they he's a flash in the pan too, for
Yeah,
sure.
I
And
mean,
that kind of I see what you're saying. Like it really is significantly reduced expectations or something.
yeah, I think about the red carpet pics of Coleman Domingo, 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
That, like, I think about it here and there, or like I'll see a picture, but it was literally like a 1 week conversation and about how cool he looked. And like Derek I talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'll say the
then
positive.
it was gone.
Yeah, the positive side of that is that these things are flashes in the pan because uh, there is so much exposure, and sometimes you could argue it's overexposure,
For
but
sure. For sure.
it's I think that's beneficial to the act of exploration and learning and growing and developing your ideas of style and all that. And Derek Guy is actually like a perfect example of that because he's able to command that attention. He's found ways to use traditional social media to promote more critical thinking, longer form sort
Yeah.
of concepts and exploring those. Uh, yeah, and I think that if there were a million Steve McQueens back in the day, we wouldn't all be like going back to the mood boards of like this one guy who was like actually kind of a piece of shit and
Right.
not a great human being.
Right.
And we would find a million other guys who dressed really well and had photos taken of them. It just like that just wasn't the case back then. It was like unless you're a movie star, no one's taking these like glamorous photos of you.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, I mean, nowadays I think most of my inspiration comes from my friends and my like real world sort of application of like what do I actually want to wear today? And I think a good thing about living in LA is like the weather's kind of always the same, so I can kind of wear whatever. Like I don't have to dress for the weather as much here. And a lot of what I've been getting into is a little bit going back to my roots in a way and like settling into the things I like. Uh, so I guess this is like contrasting with all of that exploration and kind of whittling it down into like, you know, I've tried that stuff and like maybe some of it's for me, some of it's not for me.
Right, right,
And taking the stuff that is for you and just wearing it into the ground. I mean, back in the day, like that's what part of hashtag menswear, the first iteration of it was supposed to be all about was like you buy the one shirt, the one like perfect Oxford shirt, the perfect pair of jeans, perfect sneakers, and then you wear them into the ground. And like you were looking for things with longevity because that's the stuff that you can wear forever in theory. And shoes that can be resold and
right,
that
right.
look better.
The buy less, buy better mentality, which like
Yeah,
I'm not mad about, as misguided as it could be in some ways, but like
Yeah, it's principally a good idea.
yeah, yeah, on principle, it's a fantastic idea, and like I destroy clothing, so I like you know pretty much always have 5 or 6 things that I wear all the time until I break them, and then I repair what I can, and etc.
yeah. It's a little bit like politics or like as an ideology, it's admirable, but in practice, there's always going to be flaws, and that's just like part of the human experience too. Like, there's things I love, but like I don't know, uh, there's always going to be little flaws with things. Like nothing's ever perfect, and
Right, right,
that's part of the beauty of
Can't
it.
make an omelet without breaking eggs.
Yeah, and as much as like I have so many clothes that I love, like I'm always looking for that next piece. Like that itch is never gonna go away, and it's kind of
totally.
annoying because like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have nice stuff. Like I wish I could just enjoy this and not be like, oh, but that other thing is also really nice, and I wish I had that too. Uh, yeah, and maybe like I don't know. I feel like people always talk about like getting off social media or like taking a break from like reading or like comparing yourself to others or anything like that. But like, I don't know if it's that. I think it's just like if you really love clothes, like you're always going to be excited about things you haven't tried yet or things that like maybe you want to revisit. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, ideologically, and uh, it's fun. Honestly, like I feel like this is a good. I'm enjoying aging into style because I know so much of what I like that it's created a foundation, like a baseline where like I can kind of riff on that and enjoy what I enjoy and then try little things here and there. Like there'll be like one little element I'll tweak on any given day and be like, I wonder if I did this instead. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's not like the end of the world. And it's not like I'm like questioning like why did I buy this thing or whatever. Like it's kind of like uh it impacts me less either way, which is kind of nice. The
Yeah,
baseline is
totally.
right there. Yeah.
And
Have
that's
you ever encountered Positively Kathy?
No.
She is a TikTok star. We're gonna try to get her on the show because she is like batshit. But she does videos of her outfits and she'll like tweak a little element of it and then cut and then do another thing and tweak a little element of it and then cut. She's a carnivore also. I watched a video of her making a beef tongue. She just like the the point is the little like she pops her collar all the time. She's like, and then now I'm going to pop my collar for a little added flair. She's from the South. She's like really, I don't know. She has like millions of followers.
Oh
this.
yeah. I feel like that's what's like missing nowadays is like little affectations that are like
That's what I'm saying.
I mean people I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a risk-taking thing, but yeah, I wish there was more of that. Like I wish there was more just like quirky people. Like Bill Cunningham became in
Right.
iconic blue chore coats became a thing because he was just like I'm going to take this thing that like these like laborers and France or wherever he was are wearing, and I'm just gonna wear that because it's cheap and easy, and like I can buy 10 of
And
them.
it's functional, right? Like I'm a
Yeah,
photographer and it has a ton of pockets.
yeah, and it's like kind of like a high visibility color, so I'm not gonna get like
Exactly.
by a car in theory.
Right.
Right.
Right. And that's like the whole point of clothing kind of is like the functionality is at the root of it.
Yeah, I think
When we talk
that's
about clothing as a need, uh which it isn't considered a need, although it is one, right? Like you need to have clothes, even if you have shelter, you need to have clothes.
Yeah, totally. And it's interesting to like explore the difference between need and want in that context and be like,
Mhm. Then what
what
do you
do I
need?
actually need
Right,
to like express myself?
right.
And how much do I want to express myself? Like, do I actually want to do that? Do I want to, and like, what do I actually want to say about myself through what I wear? Because it's unavoidable. Like, even if you wore nothing, that would communicate something. So you have to think about it to some extent.
Because it is like nonverbal communication. It's like probably the most, maybe the most important or the most influential nonverbal, the most universal nonverbal communication.
It's a first impression to everyone who observes it. So whether you talk to them or not, whether you get a chance to talk to them or not, like they're gonna judge you based on that. And yeah, that first impression, like if you're meeting someone for the first time and you haven't said any words to them yet, but they see what you're wearing, they're already making a judgment of you based on what you're wearing, some kind
Right.
of assessment, initial assessment, and like from that point, uh, everything can either be easier for them to understand about you, or you might create a challenge for yourself where you're then having to explain, oh no, like I'm just wearing this because I went to the gym earlier and like I just wanted to be comfortable for the rest of the day or whatever it is. Like,
No, I'm wearing a bow tie because I think that it's fashionable.
yeah, I mean,
right.
maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like uh, umpteen reasons for everything, but like I don't know when you get to the root of it.
Yeah, and I also like I understand like you can also overthink things and over project and overanalyze, and like maybe you wear some like niche like vintage watch that you think everyone's gonna be like, oh wow, he's got that watch, he knows so much about watches, and then yeah, then someone might walk down the street and be like, why are you wearing that old watch? And another person will be like, oh, that watch like isn't even anything special. Like this other watch is actually better in my opinion. Or yeah,
Right.
there's always gonna be someone who thinks they're above you and someone who doesn't even care. So I mean, yeah, you can get caught up in that as well. And
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're wearing and appreciating clothes. We're not saving lives.
yeah, yeah, and ultimately, like if you're actually appreciating the clothes, like that is entirely about you
Totally.
and your
Totally.
own enjoyment of it. And so, yeah, I think it's important to like make that the focus. And I think what we're probably circling around right now is the idea that like social media takes away from that, uh, especially the short form kind.
Right. Right.
And it's hard too because we all know the positives of social media, right? Like the relationship building and knowledge kind of siloing, like
Yeah, and
communities like
discovery.
Reddit like have tons of information, that people who are experts have compiled.
Totally. Yeah, and I think it's kind of I'm trying to like figure out how to say this. There are notable drawbacks to it, but it's also the best thing we have right now for
Right.
Right.
the
Right.
good stuff. So it's kind of like the devil, you know.
Yeah, it's good enough for government work. It's like
So you've been doing the bagel stripe for 15 years? You started in 2010?
Yeah, technically, I started on Blogspot and I did it for maybe 2.5 years,
Okay.
and then I kind of took a very long hiatus. and I brought it back in 2022 on Substack.
Okay.
So I wasn't actually like writing it. I was doing other work here and there. Like I was still writing, just not uh for myself, I guess.
Right. Right.
And in 2022, I realized Substack was kind of like just becoming a bigger thing. And similar to when I got into Tumblr and even just menswear blogging in the first place, I realized like, oh, there's actually no one who has the knowledge and context that I have that's doing this yet. And this is a chance for me to sort of get in on the ground floor again and kind of plant my flag and start sharing what I love uh, in a medium that I love and see if it works or not. And it's kind of like I've been like I was on Twitter in 2007 when it like first started. I've always been like early on a lot of uh, adoption of like new
Hmm.
formats and stuff. I didn't do that with TikTok just because, like we were saying, it's like very high lift to create a video. But
Yeah.
with Substack, I was like, oh, this is like an easy way for me to like get back into what I love and do it for myself. Because at the time I was still at Grailed and I wasn't like super active on social media, but I wanted to find a way to get back into sharing more of myself and my experience and what I love about clothes with other people in a way that like didn't feel too like self-aggrandizing or too like look at me. And I think writing is a great way to do that because if you're good at that, you're able to find universal themes that keep people engaged and uh, aren't necessarily just about your experience, but about, you know, the underlying values or lessons you've learned through that experience. And that was and still is very much the focus of like anything I do. It's how do I take all this stuff I've learned and like share it with people in a way that's relatable and maybe somewhat aspirational, but also like something practical that they can take into their everyday life and use it to inform their relationship with clothes. And yeah, I've enjoyed doing that. Like the past few years, I've been slowly doing that. And then when I left Buck Mason in December, I decided I'm just gonna like go full throttle on this and see where it goes. And I've been lucky that yeah, the list of subscribers is slowly growing steadily. Like the all the graphs on like uh, following and engagement and traffic and all that kind of stuff. It's like a steady creep up every day, every week, every month, and it's nice to have that you know slow, steady organic growth. That's something else I learned uh, working at Grails and working at just working in any business. It's like that's the kind of stuff that is sustainable
Yeah.
and the virality and taking big shots and big risks like yeah there can be payoff but unless you have a plan on maintaining that it's there's no longevity behind it
Yep.
so
We're doing what we're doing,
yeah
which is, little.
yeah but there's a beauty in that too and I think you know a lot of the stuff I've grown to love over the years like even outside of clothes like you know going back to indie music and even brands and like you know anyone who's doing interesting stuff it's always a smaller person doing it for themselves and it's never the big corporate behemoth
Yeah.
Totally.
so
Totally. I mean, we talk a lot on the show about like subcultures and the impact on like a love of clothing or like just style influence and things like that. And like all the shit that Connor and I both love came out of nothing, and then it established itself and was like done by normal ass people.
yeah and then that's you know it's you can look at that mainstreamification of things and be embittered but it's also that's part of the beauty of it too is like if
Totally.
something is a good idea and it catches on and like there's no harm in that, and there can be beauty in that too. And I think that's where I've kind of let go of that sort of like gatekeepiness and like, trying to like preserve the purity of things. And
Right. Yeah.
I think, it's really interesting to see how this like next generation who is learning everything through TikTok is
Oh God. Yeah.
exploring fashion. I think there's some interesting stuff coming out of it. I won't discredit it entirely. Uh,
Yeah. Same.
yeah, I think there's some beauty in that as well.
It's fucking hilarious to me that like hardcore bands or like you know metal extreme music whatever bands are like going viral on TikTok, and then their next tour has fucking thousands of like people that had never heard them before 6 months ago. But like props to them, dude, because most of them put in the fucking work.
I know this young woman. She's obsessed with Alice in Chains. She's like 22. She's like a black woman from Baltimore. She has like never left the city. She loves Alice in Chains. She discovered them somewhat recently. And it's like their music is immortal. But I don't know. It's amazing that things have this kind of longevity.
Right. I was thinking more like Knocked Loose and Turnstile, just from the hardcore world.
No,
Like,
I know, but
yeah,
I'm saying even more broadly than that. Like
right.
grunge bands are on the way back. Like
Yeah,
you're talking about the Pixies.
yeah. We're
Yeah, yeah.
we're we're about to the point. Well, we are at the point where there's going to be fake AI songs from these seminal bands,
We
which is
got to hear
great.
some AI hardcore. That's like what
Oh,
we're
Jesus
to,
fucking
to
Christ!
lead us out. We have the AI hardcore band. I don't know what we would call them. We could come up with something good though. I'm sure.
Probably, probably.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Turning point.
Turning Point. Well,
Topical.
Turning
Topical.
Turning Point was also a great hardcore band from the '80s, but I digress.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So coming from New York, and the just style and kind of like fashion sense that the city emanates. Um, what's the scene like in LA? Like, I know there's a lot of vintage, Rose Bowl, etc. But what's
Yeah.
what's your take on the LA style fashion scene?
I think it's very disjointed, so it's hard for anyone to come to a consensus on it. There's a lot of like the ERD kind of stuff, like that's enfant riche déprimé or whatever. Like kind of like the like post like Saint Laurent kind of like grungy version of that look.
Rocker
Uh,
type.
yeah, like rock star kind of stuff. There's a little bit of that still. I don't see much of like the brunch hat and like butt wipe tee kind of look anymore, which is good. But yeah, it's a lot of vintage, which is great. A lot of guys that I know who are just like regular guys and not even into clothes. Uh, you know, California, there's a sort of rich history of design movements out here, especially in architecture and graphic design, that I think pervade culture still. Like a lot of our favorite places to go are like old diners and dive bars and tiki bars. And I think a lot of that trickles into what people wear out here and the vintage they gravitate towards. And even the new stuff, like the stuff that Buck Mason is doing. Uh, a lot of it's like classic, simple, basic stuff, but they also will do like a crazy, I don't even know if like Hawaiian print's the right kind of shirt, but like foulard or some kind of like
Batik.
good rayon, yeah, batik, like some kind of like a fun shirt. I think is a
Sure.
easy thing, and that's always like any guy in any city or like even used to be like a going out shirt, right? Like
Mm,
the striped like Abercrombie or like American Eagle shirt. Uh,
Express.
oh man, yeah.
Oh yes.
Please no, please no.
So it's like the
Like a
modern
black
update of
dress
that.
shirt.
Yeah. There's some of that going on, which is fine. My favorite stuff is the vintage stuff, though, and I think there's a really strong community out here of vintage enthusiasts.
Yeah, it seems like it. I know
And
you and Steven have become like friends and kind of like you work together and shit. World's
yeah,
Worst Service Shop, Dude rules.
yeah, yeah, and there's also a lot of guys who are starting to get into tailoring now.
Oh shit!
Uh, little stuff here and there. I think vintage shooting is like ubiquitous because that was what in the 1930s and 40s, like what most people were wearing on a daily basis. So that's like that's the and even the 50s. Like the 50s was actually like peak for like California
Right,
tailoring.
right.
So there's a lot of that stuff floating around. I mean, it's mostly outside of LA, but you can find some good stuff here every once in a while. And even new tailoring stuff. Buck Mason does great stuff. I know people who work at Suit Supply, even like Ralph Lauren and uh, you know, mainstream brands like that are like have some kind of tailoring offering. I think a lot of that stuff's starting to like come back, and maybe it's my age and my generation, and even the kids who are younger than me. Like, we're going to a lot of weddings and doing a lot of like
Right, right.
fancy. There's really nice restaurants and stuff out here, and the kind of like cocktail bars where you want to dress up to go to them. So I think a lot of people are finding enjoyment in dressing up for things here through occasion-based dressing and through nightlife. I think that's great, and I think it's fun to see how people are starting to dip their toe into that here. And I'm hoping, yeah, hoping and praying for more of that because uh, it's not that exciting otherwise, honestly.
Um, occasion based dressing. I like that. I haven't heard that before. I was gonna say, I think my theory with the suiting, at least so in 2009, 2010, 2008, whatever, the economy was horrible. And so people were cutthroat about job applications, basically. And so it's like, what differentiates you from the person next to you probably is your clothing. And so I think people were more interested in tailoring because of that. And I think, with the unemployment rate that we have now,
Oh
a
yeah,
similar thing is happening too.
it's funny in LA too. Is everything there's a higher friction to doing anything out here already. So similar to the economy, like life in general here, it's more challenging to make friends. It's more challenging to date people. Like there's just more competition. It's more expensive. It's harder, like hard to get a reservation anywhere. You're gonna have to sit in like an hour of traffic. Uh, there's just like so much friction against anything that like you want to put your best foot forward in whatever you're doing, and a big part of that is how you dress. And yeah, you're able to stand out more, like you said, if you put a little more effort into it.
Yeah. Because we're not talking like coattails, but I do
It's
think
pretty
that
simple. It's amazing what like even just putting a sport coat on or wearing a button down
just
shirt
like
instead of
having
a t-shirt.
pants that don't look like shit,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
however you want to
art is still
define that. Yeah, exactly.
So I guess to kind of round things out, um, you mentioned earlier that you're always on the hunt for something. I guess to kind of palate cleanse to end the conversation, are there some things that you're actively looking for, or how do you go about like, oh, I need to buy this.
Yeah, I do a lot of buying and selling. I always have, like even on the forums and even on Grailed when I work there. But I've been doing a lot of Depop lately, and the stuff I'm gravitating towards on there, like I have a lot of military stuff from my buddy Will, World's Worst Thrift Shop. And so I'm like covered on that front, and I love that stuff, and I actually wear that stuff all the time. Uh,
Also, apologies to Will for saying Steven. I know he doesn't always use the name Steven. So,
yeah, no worries. We can maybe edit that out.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so I have some military stuff from Will at World's Wrist Surf Shop that I love. But on Depop, I've been looking at heavyweight flannels. I've been looking at more like 50s, 60s, 70s, like mostly like polyester blend shirts with like bigger collars, but occasionally you can find one that's like 100% cotton or rayon. And yeah, I think shirts are an easy thing for me. You can never have enough shirts. Like I know listeners can't see this, but Connor's backdrop is his closet full of shirts in every possible shape, size, and color. And I'm gonna co-sign that because I love shirts, and like that's an easy thing. Like you can wear the same outfit every day, and if you change up the shirt, it's basically a new outfit.
Well, you got a new outfit. Oh, that's amazing.
So yeah, that's what I'm like gravitating towards on Depop lately, and uh, yeah, maybe some sweaters too. We'll see, but
Yeah, LA's
I
not really a sweater weather type of place for the most
not
part.
yeah not till like January really, if
Right.
that. So we'll see. I got some time.
Well, fuck yeah. That was a solid answer. And, dude, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, we only got through like half the question template that we had. So we'll have you back on at some point in the next, I don't know, year or so.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be happy to come back.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. So shout out your, your various accounts and things and anything you would like to just before we wrap up.
Yeah, you can follow me at nickel cobalt, like the elements on the periodic table of elements, or the Bengal stripe on Instagram and Substack.
Yeah, definitely follow. Nico's been at the long form writing game a long time and is pretty fucking up there.
Well, thank you all for listening. As always, Nico, thanks for coming in. And if you want to email us, you could do that at apocalypseduds@gmail.com. If you want to find us, we're Apocalypse Duds basically everywhere. Um, and I'm Connor Flower.
And I am Matt Smith at Rebels Rogues, and we will see you next week.